In the soft glow of a fading sun, when most people are winding down from a hard day of work, Ben Freeberg is getting cranked up.
Sometimes I'll hit 10 miles an hour on the Tennessee River, so that's pretty fast.
Of course, that's paddling with the current. Going against the current slows him down to only about 4.5 or 5 miles an hour. But Ben isn't out here to set a speed record. He's getting ready to paddle from Cuba to Key West, 118 miles across the open ocean.
There's a lot that goes into it. Time on the water, diet, stretching, cross-training as well. I mean, you're trying to be as healthy as possible so that way whatever you get handed, you can deal with it as a paddler.
Ben has learned to deal with a lot as a paddler. He got his start kayaking whitewater, then moved to a stand-up paddleboard.
The paddleboard seemed like a different way to experience the river. It was a really difficult learning curve, still is, but I enjoy whitewater stand-up paddling a lot.
After a couple of years on the whitewater, Ben decided to take on a new challenge, endurance paddling. In 2011, he headed to the Yukon Territory in search of a world record.
The Yukon River is very remote. It's no man's land up there. That's one of those places on the globe that you can go to and truly get in a wilderness setting, backcountry, off the grid. It's a frontier for sure.
Flowing from Canada west through Alaska, the Yukon River stretches almost 2,000 miles. It's vast and free-flowing, the perfect place to attempt a distance paddling record.
You're near the Arctic Circle, so you've got plenty of daylight. The water's really cold, you don't want to fall in. The winds can do a lot of different things. A headwind that just would not let up for like probably 6 hours. That was a long grind.
A support boat followed along to give him food and water on the go.
You don't want to waste a lot of time during your feedings.
Happy treat coming up.
The clock doesn't stop ticking. It's a 24-hour straight interval. That's how Guinness recognizes it.
You're doing awesome, dude.
When the 24 hours were up, Ben had covered 238 miles, a world record for stand-up paddleboarding.
That was a great experience. I'd love to go back and do it again.
It wasn't long after his record paddle that Ben was out training again. That's when we first met him, getting ready for his next big adventure, traveling to Cuba, then paddling back to the U.S.
I'm cautiously optimistic that it'll be a successful day. There's things that could go wrong. Wind could kick in, currents could do something, a storm could come up. Cuba is a gorgeous place, and I'd love to go back and take in more sights and sounds.
The biggest question about the trip, how long would it take?
40 hours, 50? That's kind of like stepping into the black box where you're just like, anything can happen, and I'm willing to adjust and just keep adjusting as long as I possibly can until you just give up or pass out.
The rough waters of the open ocean made it hard to stay on his board, while the constant motion wreaked havoc on his stomach. And there was the heat.
I had a shawl like the whole time around my neck, and my support crew kept replenishing that with ice, so I just kept anything I could do to help keep my temperature cool.
After 28 hours of mental and physical grinding, Ben finished a paddling trip no one had made before.
When I reached Key West, it just felt good to get off my board. It takes a little while for you to kind of sit down and be like, okay, cool, made it. It's good.
But not as good as being back home in Tennessee and back on the water. This time, he's getting ready for his own race, the Chattajack, bringing people from all over to one of Ben's favorite spots, the Tennessee River Gorge.
And I think it'll only grow and have a lot of positive impact on Chattanooga and as well as the gorge. You know, the gorge is part of a trust, the Tennessee River Gorge Trust, and it's great that more people realize what that organization does to protect the gorge.
Ben has lots of ideas for other paddling challenges, but that's not what keeps him going. Whether he's racing or training or going the distance, Ben just loves riding a paddleboard across the water.
You get those moments where it's the right song that hits at the right time and the sun is at the right reflection, the leaves are kind of shaking in the right way, or the wind on the water. There's all of those things that come into play to create that moment. Hopefully you have that moment every time you get out there on the water.
I'm Ken Tucker on the wild side.